This tiny phone once controlled the world's most powerful people. Presidents trusted it. Billion-dollar CEOs depended on it. Governments believed it was impossible to hack. Banks trusted it with their most sensitive conversations. It wasn't just another phone. It was the most powerful communication device on Earth. Then, almost overnight, the company that ruled the mobile world disappeared. How did BlackBerry go from being the most important phone on Earth to almost completely forgotten? This is the untold story of BlackBerry. Before the iPhone, before Android, before smartphones took over the world, there was only one phone that truly mattered. It wasn't flashy. It didn't have a giant touchscreen. It couldn't play millions of apps. But if you were someone important, you almost certainly owned one. Presidents carried it. Prime ministers depended on it. Fortune 500 CEOs refused to leave home without it. Lawyers, bankers, government officials, even celebrities trusted one brand above every other. In the business world, seeing someone pull a BlackBerry from their pocket instantly told you something about them. They were successful. They were connected. They were always one step ahead. It wasn't just a phone. It was a symbol of power, a symbol of success, and a symbol that you had made it. At its peak, BlackBerry controlled the business world like no other technology company. Millions of messages traveled through its secure network every single day. Companies trusted it with their most sensitive conversations. Governments relied on it. Investors believed its future was unstoppable. In airports, boardrooms, financial districts, and government offices around the world, the tiny keyboard and blinking notification light became instantly recognizable. BlackBerry wasn't competing with other phone companies. It was defining what a professional phone should be. Then, in less than a decade, the company that once ruled the business world lost almost everything. This is the untold story of BlackBerry. BlackBerry wasn't designed to be flashy. It wasn't trying to impress teenagers with games or colorful screens. Its mission was much simpler. It wanted to help people work smarter. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, receiving an email meant sitting in front of a computer. But BlackBerry changed that forever. Suddenly, business executives could receive emails the moment they arrived. A contract could be approved from an airport. An important decision could be made from the back of a taxi. Business was no longer tied to an office desk. It traveled with you. For many professionals, it was the first time they felt truly connected to work wherever they went. Missing an important email could cost millions of dollars. BlackBerry solved that problem. The device quietly became an essential tool for lawyers, investment bankers, government officials, and business leaders around the world. Companies quickly embraced the technology because every second mattered. Time was money. BlackBerry's famous physical keyboard made replying to emails incredibly fast and surprisingly comfortable. Combined with long battery life and unmatched reliability, it became the phone every serious professional wanted to own. Before long, carrying a BlackBerry wasn't just practical. It became a symbol of success. BlackBerry's greatest strength wasn't its keyboard, and it wasn't its battery. It was trust. Every message sent through a BlackBerry traveled through one of the most secure communication systems in the world. At a time when cybersecurity was becoming a growing concern, BlackBerry had already built a reputation that competitors couldn't match. Governments relied on it. BlackBerry's encrypted network became one of its greatest competitive advantages. At a time when hackers were becoming more sophisticated, companies wanted security above everything else. Trust became BlackBerry's most valuable product, and for years, no other smartphone manufacturer could offer the same level of confidence. Banks trusted it with sensitive financial conversations. Fortune 500 companies used it for confidential business decisions. Even world leaders carried BlackBerry devices because they believed their conversations were protected. For years, the company enjoyed a level of loyalty that most technology brands could only dream about. BlackBerry believed it had built an empire that could never be challenged. But while the company celebrated its success, a completely different idea was quietly taking shape in California, and it would change the mobile phone industry forever. By 2006, BlackBerry had become the undisputed king of the smartphone industry. Sales were breaking records. Businesses around the world depended on its devices every single day. Inside the company, confidence was everywhere. Executives believed they had already built the perfect smartphone. They couldn't imagine a competitor taking their place. Then, on a stage in California, history quietly changed forever. In January 2007, Apple introduced the very first iPhone. It looked nothing like the phones people were used to. It had a large touchscreen, almost no physical buttons, and a completely different vision of what a smartphone could become. It wasn't built around emails. It was built around people. The iPhone wasn't just introducing a new phone. It was introducing a completely new way of thinking. Instead of asking users to adapt to technology, Apple wanted technology to adapt to people. It was a subtle difference, but it would change the entire industry. Around the world, consumers were amazed. But inside BlackBerry, the reaction was very different. Company leaders believed customers would never give up physical keyboards. They were convinced touchscreens were only a passing trend. Looking back, that moment became one of the biggest miscalculations in technology history. Because while BlackBerry stood still, the rest of the industry had already started moving. BlackBerry didn't ignore the iPhone. It simply underestimated what it represented. The company believed its loyal business customers would never leave. Instead of reimagining the future, BlackBerry focused on improving the past. Better keyboards, better email, better battery life. Then Android arrived. Suddenly, Apple wasn't the only company changing the rules. Competition exploded almost overnight. BlackBerry was no longer competing against one rival. It was fighting an entire new generation of smartphones. Developers stopped creating apps for BlackBerry. Customers slowly moved to Apple and Android. Market share began disappearing year after year. Investors started losing confidence. Customers who once swore they would never leave. BlackBerry quietly switched to newer devices. One by one, the advantages that had once made BlackBerry unbeatable disappeared. The market had moved on, but BlackBerry was still trying to win yesterday's battle. BlackBerry tried to fight back. New phones were released. New software was developed. But the momentum had already shifted. The company that once defined the smartphone industry was now watching its empire disappear. BlackBerry had built one of the greatest technology companies in history. But history doesn't reward those who refuse to change. It rewards those who see the future before everyone else. BlackBerry didn't ignore the iPhone. It simply underestimated what it represented. The company believed its loyal business customers would never leave. Instead of reinventing the smartphone, BlackBerry focused on improving what had already made it successful. Better keyboards, better email, better battery life. Meanwhile, Apple kept improving the iPhone. Then Android entered the market. Suddenly, BlackBerry wasn't fighting one competitor anymore. It was fighting an entire industry. Competition exploded almost overnight. Developers stopped creating apps for BlackBerry. Customers quietly switched to Apple and Android. Sales continued falling. Market share disappeared year after year. Investors began losing confidence. One by one, the advantages that once made BlackBerry unbeatable slowly disappeared. The market had moved on, but BlackBerry was still trying to win yesterday's battle. The company fought back. New phones were released. New software was developed. But the momentum had already shifted. The company that once defined the smartphone industry was now watching its empire disappear. BlackBerry had changed the way the world worked. But history doesn't reward yesterday's success. It rewards those who keep adapting to tomorrow. BlackBerry didn't fail because it lacked brilliant engineers. It didn't fail because it stopped innovating. It failed because it believed yesterday's success would protect tomorrow's future. While the world was changing, BlackBerry kept improving a world that was already disappearing. Innovation doesn't wait for anyone. History rarely repeats itself, but it often rhymes. Every generation believes today's giants are simply too big to fail. Until one day, someone builds something they never saw coming. Because in technology, standing still is the fastest way to fall behind. BlackBerry's story is more than the story of a smartphone. It's a reminder that no company, no matter how successful, can afford to stop listening to the future. Because the moment you believe you've already won is often the moment the next revolution quietly begins. I'm Veriden, and this was the untold story of BlackBerry.